Now, some folks online are up in arms about Christopher Nolan's upcoming film, The Odyssey. Folks are upset about the casting because Helen of Troy is played by Lupita Nyong'o, and Achilles, it's rumored, will be played by Elliot Page. Now, these two choices immediately alert the audience that Christopher Nolan could be doing something very different with this movie. I'll mention that in a previous role, Lupita Nyong'o played a slave in the American South who was being raped by the plantation owner. Now, that film is 12 Years a Slave, for which she won the Best Supporting Actress Oscar. Now, in my view, it's possible that Christopher Nolan wanted to portray Helen of Troy as a victim of powerful men and as an object of lust who was being sexually abused. Now, the film of The Odyssey was made in the era of Harvey Weinstein, after all. Lupita Nyong'o says she was one of his victims. So maybe the film is getting real about how women are treated even in a royal court. Now, in Hollywood, for example, women were abused by Weinstein, who got away with it for decades. Now, that's not how Helen of Troy was portrayed in 2004 in Wolfgang Petersen's film, Troy. Helen had a lot of agency in that film, but Nolan's film, I'll theorize, could be doing something different. Now, Helen of Troy was married to Menelaus, or Menelaus, the king of Sparta. Now, he's played by John Bernthal in Nolan's film. Now, according to legend, we're told that Helen left her husband to be with Paris, a prince of Troy. Now, I don't know who's playing Paris, but Elliot Page is in the film. The rumor is he's playing Achilles, but what if he's playing Paris? Now, this casting could add a different dimension to the story. In Nolan's film, maybe Helen ran off with the prince of Troy, who's not such a manly man, in order to escape an abusive husband who disrespected her. Now, that's one theory. I don't know if that's how the characters will be portrayed. We'll have to wait and see. Now, as I mentioned, Elliot Page could be playing Achilles, though, the greatest warrior in all of Greece. Now, I don't know if the casting rumor is true. If it is, maybe instead of hand-to-hand combat, Achilles is an expert archer, a master sniper and marksman, if you will. Hand-to-hand combat isn't the smartest form of combat in my view. Now, we've all heard the phrase, bringing a knife to a gunfight. Now, of course, there was no gunpowder in ancient Greece, but archery could be an analogy here. Now, King David in the Bible fought with a slingshot, let's recall. David was physically no match for Goliath, so he brought his marksman skills, and the rest is history. Next casting controversy. Apparently, East Asian actors were spotted among Odysseus's crew on the ship. And Will Yun Lee, a Korean-American actor, is in the movie. Now, here he is, along with Corey Hawkins and Robert Pattinson. So these are the suitors who wanted to rule Ithaca and sought to wed Penelope, the wife of Odysseus. Now, Robert Pattinson plays the main suitor, according to the trailer, but Will Yun Lee and Corey Hawkins play supporting characters, and that's key because often it doesn't cause a huge controversy if actors of color are cast in supporting roles or as background actors. When they're playing a lead character, especially an historical figure, then it could become an issue. Now, my view on race-blind casting is sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but if an actor of color plays a smaller role, often it just causes less of a controversy. And, of course, there's the issue of historical accuracy, as I mentioned. Now, some folks online say that Helen of Troy is an historical figure, and so race-blind casting shouldn't have been used. Okay, so maybe Helen of Troy did exist. Maybe she was a real person. But her biography is now the stuff of legend. For example, even if she did exist, she probably wasn't the daughter of Zeus, which is how she's portrayed in stories about the Trojan War. In any event, there's a new trailer out, which is a lot better than the first trailer. I posted a reaction to the first trailer several months ago. It seems they've spent the last few months working on the CGI, would be my guess. Now, the first trailer looked as if they didn't give a flying F. Okay, it was so drab. But the new trailer is better. They've upped their game. For example, Charlize Theron is featured in the new trailer, which is the first good idea they've had in terms of marketing. Now, she's an Oscar-winning artistic actress, and she's a bona fide action star. We all watched Mad Max Fury Road. How great was she in that? She and Tom Hardy. Now, those roles were some of their best ever for Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy. So the new trailer for The Odyssey, I would say, is a lot better than the previous one. However, House of the Dragon Season 3 trailer still beat the new Odyssey trailer, and in my view, that's because we now have a real storyline in House of the Dragon. Now, my concern with the Odyssey is that the story could be a bit too small for the talents of the likes of Nolan, Matt Damon, Charlize Theron, etc. I believe it's possible the story could just be too small. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.